So that's the point, guys. And there is Dirk Hartog off in the distance. Campsite at Shelter Bay is 8 kilometres from here. So tomorrow morning, the barge and off to the island. Okay guys, I'm going to refuel from a jerry can. So what I'm doing here, I'm cleaning this area of all the dust. The last thing you want to do is introduce dust and grit into your refueling. I'm getting in here with some soapy water, getting this area around the cap as clean as possible before I'll use a siphon line to get it in. Okay, so what I'm using is just a jiggle siphon. Got the jerry can propped up there, and it's gravity feeding in. So nice, simple. No busting your chicken trying to pour one of these jerry cans into these utes. So it makes a nice, easy job. Nice, clean fuel transfer, and that's all good.
That's our map of the island. So you go right there now. Yep. These spots where you go through here, you're going up to the northern part of the island.
Yeah, that'll be tomorrow.
All marked with star pickets. If you don't see the star pickets, you've got the car and you find them.
Okay.
Not that hard, honestly. Obviously, we've had a few, not this year, last year, before they signed it a lot better. We had one particular car that didn't come out of there. Yeah. Put in there and it stayed there.
Oh, really?
It's been removed now. But...
Well guys, welcome to Notch Point on Dirk Hartog Island. This is our first camp on the island. I'll give you a bit of a pan around. There's no drone footage on my channel, boys. So we're in a nice sheltered spot. It was pretty windy last night. There's the Hilux. So on the ground here I've got my 115 watt Amorphous solar blanket. That's keeping up with the fridge, which is quite good because it's about 30 degrees at the moment. Our campsite looks like it's just exploded from the back of the ute. So we've got the awning, the sage shale on, which is quite good, especially in the afternoon. More stuff than you want to see in the car. Got the drifter kitchen there. It's a great little camp kitchen. And in the back of the car I've got it covered at the moment to keep the direct sun off it. We've got the 60 litre fridge and kayaks out there interfering with water at the moment. So let's evaluate what we've got to. So Saturday we left Perth at 7:30 in the morning. We drove to Narran, which is a campsite with a toilet and not much else. It was 632 k's, took us 7.5 hours. Nice steady driving, no problems. Got up on a Sunday morning when we drove from Narran to the Overlander. It took us about an hour. At the Overlander we had a bit of a faffing around. There's a big queue of caravans. We left there at 9:30 to drive out to Steep Point. The first part of the road on the road to Denver's obviously sealed, so that was 49 kilometres to the turn off. Now part of the track has been bitumised, which is fabulous, and the last part's quite horribly corrugated, so you've got to drive to the conditions. So we arrived at the Shelter Bay campsite at 2:50 in the afternoon, so that's 7.5 hours on the first day, 6 hours on the second. So people that are saying they're doing it in 9 or 10 hours are either a much better driver than I am, or they're doing something silly. So this morning at 7:45 we were the first car on the barge, and the roads here are horribly corrugated. 20 odd years, the 30 odd years of driving, the most corrugated, and it's a mixture of sand and very sharp stones, so you've got to go careful. The guy on the barge warned us to step up pressures up to about 25, because they've had a lot of high-end vehicles rip all their tyres off with low profile tyres, so we don't have that issue anyway. So at 10:30 we arrived here at Notch Point, and we've had the place to ourselves. There's been no other vehicles, no drones. It's all been very pleasant. So guys, so far it's a lovely time, and I'll catch up with you tomorrow. Okay guys, so this is the side shade on. for anyone that's thinking about this, it's a brilliant addition, it really is. It was the first time I've used it actually, so it's all pegged out. As you can see, I'm prepared for the main awning with very large sand stakes. This one I've just used a regular 4. So this is a great addition. So tonight we'll probably have the swagger mould under here. Just slides in the simple tube, couldn't get any simpler really. Yeah. It's a gimbal camera so. Interesting to see the sea, the dunes. And the sharp rocks. Guy Taste Tuesday. We're at Turtle Bay, Dirk Hartog, probably the latest sunrise in Australia due to our distance west. Interesting, we soaked this one by condensation. 30 degrees yesterday, and this morning it's not very cold. Across there is the lighthouse. It's interesting to see the mist in the hollows. And yeah. Now this campsite's quite elevated, so it's quite a trudge down to the beach. It's only one site, and I found it difficult to get a booking. So there's the car down there. So far, everything's going champion on this breakaway. So here we are, guys, at the top of Dirk Hartog Island. Pan you around. There's the lighthouse. This stand here is for the display plates. And 1697. 1616, quite a while ago. There's the solar powered lighthouse. Appears to be a couple of storage sheds, and this accommodation here is the lighthouse keeper's house, now used as a calm work centre. So guys, whether the camera's picking out all this bugs and crud down here, what I'm doing at the bottom of here, there's a duckbill valve. Now, a lot of the snorkel installation wranglers reckon to silicone that up for water crossing as well. It does what it does. The pre-spinner inside this box knocks out the big stuff before it gets to the air cleaner. So really, that's something that would have made it to the air cleaner if that spinner wasn't there. So I did that before I left home, and there was a bit of sand and grit in there from previous. So that's all coming from the last 1000 Ks. So better out than in that case. So what I'm doing now, I'm just going around, checking all the connections, making sure everything's locked in place, everything's tight, there's no obvious leaks. Every morning I have a quick look under the car just to make sure. Now, One thing about this Dirk Hartog, it's heavily corrugated, but it's also mixed in with sharp rocks. Now there's been a very high-end four-wheel drive here that's running 20-inch wheels, and he's had 3 flat tyres, so he's stuck. There's no replacement tyres at Denham. It's going to have to be flown in from Perth. So, well, apart from a stock standard Hilux, mine's having no problems with any of the terrain, but a good set of heavy-duty tyres I'd recommend. I'm running it at 21 psi. The guy on the ferry said 25, but it's helping the corrugations a bit. And these, as you can see, these KO2s here are have good sidewalls, which is important. So everything's running to plan, and I'll touch back in later. Well guys, called in at Dampier's Landing. It is a campsite, sitting in this like wind-blown hollow here, and certainly it's had a lot of four-wheel drive action. It's super boggy and quite a long way from the beach, so probably the least attractive campsite we've come across so far. We're not staying here. I saw it on a YouTube review, so I passed on this one. We're off on our way to Whitnall Point. So guys, this is Whitnall Point. So we camped here right on the beach. It's really quite pleasant. First day out on the trip. Sun's just trying to break through, and the amorphous solar bank is doing really well in the heavy cloud cover. It's been produced in about 2.5 amps, which is really a bonus, as a lot of panels really suffer in heavy cloud cover. This is keeping up with the fridge brilliantly. So down on the point there is plenty of oysters if you need a snack, and it's all very nice. So guys, second last day on the trip. We're at the Salties campground. It's pretty basic, just sand patches, a bit of shelter. Last night, 40 at least kilometre an hour winds was howling through here. The ARB swag's been handled really well. There are showers and flushable toilets here. That's the amenities block there. So it was nice to get a break out of the wind last night. They do have fire pits here, but you have to purchase your own wood unless you've brought it all the way from the mainland. So all good. So we'll be picking up some fuel today, and we'll make our way to the barge landing site for an early morning pickup tomorrow morning. I reckon there'll be 50 or 60 little sharks there. Don't know what's attracted them to the shallows there, but there must be something. Probably not too keen to go much further out in the water, are you, mate? Well guys, our final morning on Dirk Hartog. That steep point in the distance. So we've had a week on the island. Last 2 days it's been really windy, but prior to that it's been really nice, about 30 degrees Celsius. So how's it all gone? The roads were heavily corrugated. I mean heavily corrugated, so it took a lot longer to get to places than I originally thought. The potential for tyre damage is quite high, so good tyres, and otherwise the stock four-wheel drive is going to be just fine. We had 100 litres of drinking water. We've got 10 left. I cracked open the condensed milk this morning, so we just ran out of milk yesterday afternoon. That's fine. Everything went fine. Car did a fabulous job. No hassles at all. all the gear's done well. So after spending just over a week inside the ARB double swag, I can actually say absolutely fabulous. In temperatures of 30 degrees to quite chilly and very, very windy, it has done everything. Its shape's quite good because you can enter the shallow end into the wind and it sheds the wind quite nicely. So I must admit I'm very impressed. Now I've been running the Yeti soft cooler with all my hard vegetables, and I've been using the fridge to chill water to keep the vegetables good, and they've lasted 9 days so far, and that's worked out really well. So the concept of running a fridge and a little cooler is really quite a good idea. The joy of the corrugations in and out of Steep Point. Well, we're back from Dirk Hartog Island. It was an absolutely fantastic trip. We had perfect weather for all but the last couple of days. So I've done over 2,000 kilometres in the last 10 days. The car's performed flawlessly, it really has. What I'm going to do with this video, I'm going to go through how I did it, what I used, what I didn't use, the gear I used. So it's sort of a nuts and bolts type of video, and it'll help you to plan that trip and possibly save you a fair bit of coin, because it isn't an expensive trip. The barge fees alone were $450. So guys, if you're interested in that type of video, that's what's coming up. Well guys, my vehicle is basically stock suspension and some rock sliders. Now I had no clearance issues on the island. Most people seem to be having problems with people either driving too hard and or having the wrong type of tyres. So I have two sets of tyres for this vehicle, a set of 18-inch road going wheels, and they are much better on the highway than these BFG KO2s. These are a good tyre. I ran them at 21 PSI on the island. There is lots of sharp rocks, heavy corrugations, so really what you're wanting is a tyre with some sidewall protection, and just be careful with your pressures that you don't go too far and bag out the sidewalls, because there was a very exotic four-wheel drive up there that was running 22-inch rims, I think, and he had 3 flat tyres. Now that's something that you're not going to get in the Midwest or Western Australia, and he was stuck there, and it was going to cost a fortune to get wheels and tyres up to him. So if you're going to do one mod for the trip, get some good off-road tyres. And if you're like me, I run 2 sets. So now I'm back from the trip, these wheels will be coming off. I'll take the brake drums off, clean out the brake drums, because you don't want grit in your brake drums if you want your brakes to last, and I'll put my road wheels back in place. So guys, for trips like this, when you travel on rough corrugations and really anywhere on the road, secure your load down, okay? So what I've done, I've made strap loops for the jerry cans. I use this elastic cargo net. It's a little bit of a pain, but I picked up a large bag of rubbish near the barge landing departure site. It's obviously fallen off someone's vehicle and they couldn't be bothered to stop and pick it up. So under that I have an old canvas tarp. It comes in useful for many things, from roadside repairs. It keeps everything covered, because what people don't see, people don't want. So that's, you have to keep that in mind, not so much on Dirk Hartog, but places where you may be between hand. And lock down your loads, watch your valuables. So guys, my ARB double swag, fabulous. I really enjoyed it. It was comfortable. Its shape enabled me to turn it into the wind when it was really windy. Now this bag is thin, doesn't come with it. It's a sort of a dry bag style. It has a folded rolled closure. It is dust and rain proof. So if you're going to buy one of these swags, I'd suggest it. It has multiple tie down options and all that. I just put a security strap over the top. This is on top of my load, and really happy with it. I didn't use my 4-man dome tent once on the trip, but it's nice to have a bit more room for getting changed and stuff, where you can get changed in this, yeah, if you're young and nimble enough. So guys, grizzle time by Uncle Mike. The only thing that disappointed me on the island was people leaving their rubbish behind. Now, you spend a fortune to get to this island. It is a beautiful remote place. It is not made any better by you leaving your empty cartons behind, drink cans everywhere. So I took all my beverages in aluminium cans, so that when they were empty I would just crush them down. That went for all canned food as well. Bit of time with a tin opener, flatten them all out, don't take up any space. That's why I didn't take beer in glass bottles and stuff like that. But yeah, please clean up after yourself. What you take in, take out. Especially applies to toilet paper. Some of the places looked like it was been snowing. So, I mean, we all want to keep ourselves clean and all that. If you want an easy solution, back of my car here, I keep a bottle, it's an old dishwashing liquid bottle. I put some concentrate in the bottom, mix it with water. It's there in the back of the car. I can get it anytime I need it. I've got an old tea towel to wipe my hands off. Easy clean, don't need excess toilet paper littering the landscape, guys. So do your bit to keep these places as nice as they are for the next guy, right? And deal with your own rubbish. As with food storage, remove most of your packaging like you would do with the backpacker. But I put my things like cornflakes, oats into these fruit boxes where you get, well, I would say canned fruit, but obviously they're in bottles. So durable containers. My food box is a milk crate. Has this canvas bag made by Drifter, and I've cut a piece of plyboard so it makes an impromptu seat as well. So get rid of your packaging, make it compact, and store it away from critters. I did get one nibbler attack during the night where they got some noodles, but apart from that I had no issues. Okay guys, in regards to food storage, I was running the ARB 60 litre Elements fridge, and had my solar panel to help keep the battery up for the days where I was stopped for 2 days. With my hard vegetables, I was using my little Yeti cooler here. Oh, I got sand everywhere. What I was doing, I was chilling flexible flexi flasks. They're a type of water bottle in the fridge during the day, as close to the back of the exchanger as I could get them. Then I'd rotate them into this. Now this was kept in the cab, so running the aircon, it's of course cooler in the cab than outside. and that kept my hard veg good for the full week. So that was quite a good system. I'm pleased with that. So guys, this is my toolkit and most of my spares, and I've got a good tool roll. I've got a method of transferring fluids. This little jiggle siphon. It's a lot easier on your arms than jerry cans. Spare fuel filters. Modern diesels don't like dirty fuel, so I've got a pre-filter and a factory filter. Buy good ones, keep them sealed. You're going to use them anyway at some service point, but have a set with you. There's nothing worse than being stuck. My spare bag, I've got SOS tape, great stuff for fixing things. I've got every size of heater hose, fuel hose, cable ties, bits of wire I can make stuff out, bits of plate I can, plenty of duct tape, nuts, bolts of various sizes, thread bar and the gear to make any bolt I need, sorted the electrical connections, and these probably the things I've used over the years the most. These are the rubbers that hold up your exhaust system. So often you'll find people at the side of the road trying to wire up your exhaust. When your car gets to 5 years old or whatever, just change them out. You're heading remote. If you'd never leave the bitumen, you'll probably never change them. But if you do, you will. So a good kit, guys, doesn't need to be ginormous, even if your skill set doesn't allow it. At least take the spares that are appropriate for your vehicle. Okay guys, so secure your jerry cans. So on one side I've got diesel and one, this is one of my water containers. Now I have 3 separate water containers for a total of 100 litres. So what I did, I made these brackets to fit in this front runner rail. So the jerry can slides underneath. Then I'm going to use some dishcloths just to stop it banging about. You don't want these things wearing through on a rough road. It could easily happen. Now there is a rubber load mat as well, so it's padded on all sides. Then the ratchet strap goes through here, pulls it in nice and tight. No dramas of the entire trip, which is great. Interesting, I made that bracket 2 days before we left, so within 10 days it has already started to go rusty. I didn't have any galvanized paint, unfortunately, but I'll redo them for the next trip. Okay guys, this is my Drifter camp kitchen. It's a 100 mini or 100. It's designed for the single burner disposable gas stoves. It's absolutely brilliant to have somewhere for all your knives, forks, cups, spoons, pots, the stove itself, a wash-up bowl, all goes together, and I can really recommend it. So guys, if you want the world's toughest cooker for remote travel, I fully recommend one of these cast iron fellas. Now, dead simple, incredibly tough. Now they all run on one of these POL regulators. Now there wouldn't be a hardware shop in Australia you couldn't buy one of these. I always carry a couple of spare rubber tips for it. And with the bottles, I'm just cleaning everything now, get one of these plastic plugs. Some of them come with it, this one came with it, you can buy them. It's just basically an end of a regulator. Keep that in there clean, because dust is your enemy. Now, I use this cast iron plate, straight on top. That's my barbecue. Far more compact than, say, a Weber BBQ. A lot more versatile. And I also use the cast iron plate as my jack base plate. Should have to jack the car up on a soft surface, which you can guarantee at some point you'll have to do. Okay, so 115 watt amorphous solar blanket by Red Arc. Brilliant, kept up with the fridge. It had it fully recharged by about 11 or 12 o'clock most days. So did a great job. Even works really well with the cloud cover. So fantastic bit of kit. Now I've got about a 10 meter lead and a 2.5 meter lead. Sometimes I put it on the windscreen when it suits, otherwise I just found a bush and thread on that. Fully recommend it. Keep your Anderson pugs clean, and I'll put a bit of spray on them because they're not watertight, these fittings, so if they're outside and all that, you need to give them a bit of love down again. Okay guys, the car's looking a lot cleaner. We're getting there. It's only taken 2 days. So on the trip I carried 100 litres of diesel. 80 in the tank and 20 in the jerry can. When I got to Steep Point, I put the 20 into the car. So the 185 k's from the Overlander, I'd used more than 20. Normally I would not use 20 on that trip. So fuel consumption goes up in four-wheel drive, especially in sand and stuff like that. I could have made it back to the Overlander. Now it's $3.30 a litre on Dirk Hartog, so the diesel is expensive. So if you plan it, you can just do it with some additional fuel. But I booked it and I bought 40 litres from them. So on the way back I didn't stop in the Overlander, I went further down to Geraldton before I refueled. So that saved me some money there. So when you're operating these vehicles in harsh terrain, it's important to keep stuff clean and keep a check on stuff. So not so much on Dirk Hartog, but what I'm doing here, I'm washing the engine bay after the trip. You need to keep the battery tops clean. Because our red dust in Australia, it's red because it's rusty and it conducts electricity. So you don't want a parasitic loss on the batteries, or I've actually seen that short. So this is the primary fuel filter, or I should say the factory fuel filter. It's not a particularly difficult job to change. It's a skill best learnt at home. I'll always carry two fuel filters because I have a 30 micron accessory filter, so that's doing the bulk of the job. This one has a glass base on it, so I can spot if I get a dose of water. So that's a modification that I recommend. Don't run a 5 micron accessory filter, run a 30. It separates water better than that. Now the airbox, when I was away, I cleared the duct fill valve out from the bottom. Now because my car has a snorkel, and you can see all the bugs encrusted there, this actually shortens the life of your air filter. Don't believe the hype that it's cleaner air up there. It's actually cleaner inside the guard, but yeah, it's a bonus to have the snorkel. So I'll take the airbox apart in a second. So I'll wash the engine bay down before I start anything. Now this here is your mass airflow sensor. Now they hate dust. They're a hot wire, and that's how it reads how much air and fuel to mix. So these days I recommend carrying a mass airflow sensor cleaner. I know how to do it. It's just 2 screws. Just need to be a bit gentle with it. And we'll have a look in the airbox and see how it's gone after 2,000 kilometres of dust and dirt. So guys, the element's looking reasonable. My usual test is to hold it up to the sunshine and have a look. Apart. And we look into the airbox here. Oh look, we got butterflies. Oh, lovely. So it's not bad. Good little parts up here, and tiniest hint of dust. So that's a good job. So there's actually the mass airflow sensor there. So that's all good. So guys, don't be a tightwad when it comes to air filters and fuel filters. You can see there's a few bugs and cruds in there. This is not bad, yeah, but these are cheap. Buy genuine, buy good ones, and just keep changing them out. So guys, I think we're about done. It was a fabulous time, and I fully recommend the trip to Dirk Hartog. If you like the content I create, please subscribe, helps me out greatly, and we'll see you next time.